He's calling from Mike Caputo.
I think I've seen his videos before.
He's the current drummer for Job for a Cowboy, like live
Oh,
drummer.
yeah. That's where I would have seen it. I think I went on like a search trying to find out who was playing for them.
Okay. Whenever you have any anecdotes, any parts the guy plays in a different way, just feel free to comment.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
He's doing the double with his right foot to get those little gallops.
Yeah, I think
Way to do
it's
it.
yeah, I think it's the double in one, and it's
Yeah.
easier. And it's
Hey, whatever gets the job done.
yeah,
That's
what do you yeah, actually, what do you think about you are not on the internet, but there's the heated battle on this heel toe. It's probably you heard of it a lot
Oh,
about
well,
like whether
I was touring when people started to like introduce it into metal. The first person that I saw doing it, most people would say John Longstreth, right? Hellhammer from Mayhem's been doing it for a long time. So I'm not going to say John was the first person to do it, but John influences a lot of people because he's great and he's had such a great name in death metal for so long. I remember seeing John play when he did single strokes and his feet were like super far out and he played like heel down and it was so wild looking to watch. And then he switched over to doubles and then we played some shows together in Europe and I asked him, I was like, so why'd you switch to doubles? I'm just curious. And he's like, dude, Origin's one of those bands that's always really pushed extremity. And
hmm
he was like, every album has to be faster and for longer. And he was like, it's just not that feasible. He's like, it's
hmm
so difficult to play those things. You know, he didn't do swivel. And I was like, yeah, it makes sense because their stuff is just so busy. You know what I mean? And I would
yeah,
just
Origin.
it wouldn't be enjoyable to me to have to worry about being able to play double bass that fast for that long.
Yeah.
There's a couple guys that I've seen that can do it really, really well, where like both strokes are very pronounced and loud. Ben Harklerode was really good at it. Like he was one of the best that I've seen. Like his double strokes without triggers were so loud in the second hit too. It wasn't like this. A lot of people, the second hit is like really light
Whack,
and
whack,
yeah. And
whack.
if you got the triggers on it out front, it'll sound fine. And at the end of the day, that's kind of what matters the most. But from like a foolish pride perspective, I grew up idolizing guys that I guess did it the hard way, for lack of better
hmm
words. You know what I mean? Watching people just dig in and just it gets me fired up watching people do single strokes. You know, I have respect for people that can do this well, and I think it's a great tool. You know what I mean? Like when you have bands like, and there are people that can do it with singles, right? You got like your Ken. Ken can do stuff like that. Eugene, who's playing with Flesh God,
hmm
his swivel, he can go hyper fast speeds. Um, that guy, David Dippold, I don't know how it's pronounced. I'm probably
Yeah.
butchering his name. He's a great player, so if he sees this, I'm sorry. He's phenomenal, but he can do it all. He can do the singles like super fast. He's not even doing swivel. He just stays loose a little bit, but and he can do double strokes. Like it's impressive. I mean, they're tools.
hmm
Then there are things that I like for the sound. So not to derail too far from this video, but like I try to keep an open mind with it, even though I don't really do the double stroke stuff. It gets people where they need to go, you know. But it's like hands. Like a lot of people have learned to do push pull or the molar for blasting. David does it. A lot of guys are doing it. I'm not really into the sound of it, the
hmm
tonality. Like I just think it loses some of the drive and that like chaotic feel of a blast. You know what I mean?
And the
Like
velocity too, because the second hit with the push pull is the
right.
same as heel toe.
On the ride or hi-hat, maybe that's fine. You know what I mean? On the snare, I absolutely don't really like it on the snare. I really
hmm
like just one of the best things I ever heard was Derek Roddy say that the way he plays was strictly for sound. You know,
hmm
he doesn't do it. He doesn't do a specific technique just because it makes it easier or whatever. He does what sounds best if you were to close your eyes.
Yeah.
And for him, it's wrist, you know what I mean? And he plays singles with kind of like he calls it flat foot. But to me, he's using similar mechanics that I'm using, where it's a mixture of like calf contractions, hip flexors, and
hmm
hamstrings. You're literally moving your whole legs, you know what I mean? And you're using different muscle sets to do it. I don't have any knee problems, you know what I mean? And neither does Derek. There
Yeah.
are schools of people that say you have to sit certain ways and you have to sit certain heights, and I just don't believe that. You know,
hmm
I believe it's personal preference.
Yeah. Some people are tall. They need to sit higher or lower
Yeah.
or
I sit
yeah, it's
low.
just
Alan sits super low. Derek sits fairly low. And it's preference, and I think you get more power when you sit lower than when you sit
Okay.
higher. But no, hey, if you can make it sound good and it doesn't sound like gallopy and you're doing doubles, hey, whatever. No,
But
but this guy's solid.
anything else when you saw the parts, anything you played differently? Do you
So
remember?
far, no. So far,
So
no.
far, everything is
Mhm.
correct. Okay, let's continue then.
Perfect.
Anything to comment?
He's got it nailed. I mean, he even threw in the accents with like the hi-hat and the China. And I like when he's keeping his heels really low, but he's doing the double strokes and he seems like he's getting good beater swing. Yeah, I
And
dig it.
there's swivel going on too.
A little
On
bit, a
one.
little bit. I think it's just to stay loose. Like he's not it's not an extreme pendulum and his left foot is pretty minimal.
Okay, I think
There's definitely parts on that album which are like really laid back.
so. Were you using the China when it comes to the chorus?
Yeah, I think that was accurate.
That was accurate, right? So he
Mhm.
played note for note.
Yeah, the fills were on. Yeah. So far I
Okay.
haven't heard anything that's incorrect.
Yeah, we've got nothing to comment, Mike. How's you just he just nailed it.
Yeah, hey, if
I
they if they find themselves needing a drummer at some point, you might call this guy.
Yeah, Mike, I'm sure he's gonna watch it. Yeah, and he's just an amazing guy.
That's awesome. I'm glad Job got him because they're great dudes and good musicians and their new
Yeah,
stuff I've heard was really good.
the Moon Healer.
So yeah, I think that's what it's called.
Are you ready to watch the Nocturnal? Anything from Nocturnal? Adrian, Galindo. Yes,
Okay.
anything you want to comment on. Also, guys are good when it comes to criticism because being criticized by Shannon Lucas himself, being trashed by
I don't
Shannon
want to trash
Lucas,
anybody.
you can. I give you the liberty to do that. Okay.
I'm sure it's
So
great.
okay, let's do this. 1 second. Anything so far?
I mean, he's playing through it. It's the patterns are not necessarily identical. You know what I mean? He's kind of doing his own fills where they. Be, but the fills are on. The kick pattern, he's kind of doing like a
Huh.
and then I think on the album it's pretty simple. It's just a I like to hear people's just quick take of it too.
No, 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 no. Okay.
He's ripping through it. I mean, it's a quick one. Yeah, snare hand might have got a little loose in one section, but he brought it back. It didn't sound too crazy. And he's got, like I said,
Uh-huh.
he's got his own flair to it. This part he's on right now, I think is probably harder. Um, with the kick patterns kind of changing underneath,
Mm-hmm.
but he's playing it. He's
You
playing it
mean
as
the
it
one?
is. Mhm.
This one.
Yep.
Okay, let's continue.
And he was doing singles. Did he do doubles in the long spot, or was he doing?
Let me check. No, I think he's doing
Nice
swivel.
singles. There you go.
Yeah.
Yep. Dave Peterson. Cool.
He also did he closed the hi-hat too, huh? This guy.
Yeah. I muted. I think I did a choke on a cymbal.
I think he changed parts here.
I think
Because
he switched from the hi-hat to the ride.
yeah, because you played the whole thing on the on the hi-hat before the chorus. Okay, anything. This is my favorite part of the song. I like the transition from hi-hat to right cymbal.
Mhm.
No, the skank when
Oh yeah.
the cymbal hit
Mhm.
separates two parts. I
Right.
think it's a brilliant part.
Well, thank you.
Did you come up with it?
Yeah, it's when you get to playing faster speeds, you feel like you're just limited with what you can do because there's just not that many things, right? Like, how do you spice up a thrash beat? There's only, you know, what I mean, like you can add some extra kick stuff under it, or do something funny with the cymbals, or come up with some patterns or something. But yeah, he obviously knows like the parts. I think he just kind of is his own take on some of the fills or whatever.
Yeah,
But yeah,
and this part, this song is, I think it's draining. It's draining part.
it's tiring. It's tiring.
But thank you to Adrian.
Yeah.
I think he anything for you to add.
Yeah,
Okay.
great job. Great job.
Great job.
I'm flattered. I don't think I've seen many Black Valors.
Anything to add?
So far, so good. Single
So far, so
strokes,
good.
ripping.
Amazing song to open the album with. I don't know
Pain in the ass to
why.
play early in the set, but we would typically play it second because it was challenging enough. Like I need a good song or so to warm up. Like I just can't come in. Some guys can. Some guys can come in just play the fast stuff. I needed to like play something a little slower than this to warm up. Like usually like I get the bugs out after like the first song and then we would play the second and that would be okay. But
what is the what's your favorite first song to open the Dahlia set?
we did Everything Went Black a lot first. And that was like one of my favorites to start with. Yeah, it was it was a good speed to start with, I thought. I mean, it had a lot of kick stuff in it, but it was like at a tempo that was like more feasible. Now we did do the opening track from Ritual first a bunch, and I hated doing that one first too.
That starts with it starts with blast.
And then
I forgot the
got that
song.
middle section. It's got that middle section with like the long kick part.
Ah, yes.
And at first, just first song, it was like iffy how I played that part, you know. But cool song.
Yeah. Do you play One Foot Blast with
Yes.
this one? Yes. Okay. So
by this album, I had switched to like 1 foot only. Like
because Ritual,
which Ritual was kind of Nocturnal was a little bit of both, maybe depending on the speed of the song. And by this album, I had switched to like just 1 foot.
The level of confidence that you got, probably right from playing
I felt
and touring.
I think, well, my endurance had picked up, but I felt like it was cleaner, and I felt like all my stamina in general just seemed to kind of, I don't know, it was something about playing 2 foot where I felt like maybe it took
Mhm.
focus or something away from my hands. I don't know. But I don't know. Yeah, it felt like it just felt more driving to me. It felt like it had more of a push, to it. It's with 2 feet, you can get 2 feet pretty good, but at the same time, there's always room for a little bit of like shakiness between the hits. When you're doing it single foot, there's no room for that. So like it just becomes way tighter. And
Good.
when you switch to 1 foot, it opens up the door for you to like drop in little stuff with your left foot. So then you can kind of start doing stuff like if you were doing kind of like a hammer blast or suffo blast, whatever you want to call it. If you do it all with your right foot, you can then drop in like weird little patterny
Mhm.
stuff with your left foot, and it's a bit easier in my opinion.
How is he playing?
Ooh,
Any
he's
beats
doing good.
missing?
There's something that's a little bit different. I'm trying to think. You might need to rewind that actually.
Okay. For sure. It could be this part where he played the fill. I don't know.
That's a little bit different coming out of it. Like he did the fill. He did like an extra long fill.
But
Go
so
ahead.
far so good. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
sure.
Finally,
I stopped.
time where he can like relax, right? That's like the part of the song where you're like,
Uh-huh.
whoo.
But you don't have problems with this mid-tempo double bass.
So that's like a common discussion amongst like extreme drummers, right? Is like how awkward the slow tempos are like to play. Like some people like they get to where like they can play real fast, but then like when they drop down to like 190, 180 and below, they think it feels awkward. And I think that's based on how you play. For me, because I play with, my legs aren't at an angle, like
Mhm.
it's like flat and then straight down, and my heels are kind of like right above, you know what I mean? So, or my knees are kind of above my heels, and there's a lot of up and down motion. So for me, playing slow is not a problem. Um, if I was just using ankle from like a scooted back position, like a lot of drummers do, I would probably struggle with it. Like I've
Mhm.
tried that before. I've tried all sorts of different things just to see like what things feel like. You can go really fast that way, like sitting further back with your,
Mhm.
legs out and like your heels further down. You can really move the pedals faster, but I don't have the control that I have if I sit closer and lower. And I'll trade control and power for speed any day.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because you can
Okay.
get speed out of just about any technique. But yeah, no, this guy's mid-tempo stuff sounds good too. My feet kind of look like that when I play. I play on the balls of my feet with my heels up. My legs I'm not sitting super far away.
Mhm.
There's a lot of vertical motion, especially with stuff at this speed. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much what my feet kind of look like.
Mhm. And he looks like a very tall guy. So these, like these pedal blocks, that the
Yeah.
for example, Alex from Despised Icon has,
Oh
fucking
yeah.
huge ones. I think he has something like this.
Kind of changes
Uh,
the angle of the footboard.
you don't necessarily like hit the floor, I guess. I don't know, talking out of my ass. But
I don't
these
even but Alex, he had before he did that, he had like double like the risers like in the footboard. His were
Mhm.
like way up there. I remember touring with him and they were pretty flat. But he plays so high up, and he plays like this. He plays with his heels up.
Mhm.
Well, he used to. I don't know how he plays now, but I
Mhm.
know he's
Yeah,
incorporated some doubles. But yeah, back in the day, he could rip like that. It's crazy.
fucking machine. Like
Oh yeah.
Alex,
First time I
I
watched him play MVP live, I was like mind blown.
yes, So this is the part which is the transition from slower double bass to the faster, right? Let's see
Okay,
how
yeah.
he does it.
Nailed it.
I think this feel is different from what you played,
He's
isn't it?
also playing one less tom, so that might be it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you had in your Tama
Yeah,
drum
I
set, you
did
had 3.
8, 10, 12, and then 16. Nah, he picked a good one. He picked a ripper. Look at that
Thank you very
face.
much.
I love his drum face. He's
Yeah,
getting in there.
it's another 3 minutes of pain,
That's how I
except
feel.
except this part. Okay. And the very last the very last one, which is the fucking Polish names.
Christoph?
What? Grz, grz, grz.
The guy under him, Adam
Uh-huh.
York,
Yeah.
I guess his name. He
Hmm.
did a couple covers and they're spot on, man. He did an I Will Return cover that was super good.
Yeah. I saw your comments there, and I was like,
Uh,
wow, Shannon Lucas is on YouTube, but he's not on other platforms. How the fuck is that
I
even possible?
gotta watch
Okay.
people play. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But anyways, this guy.
Just a couple little cymbal accents. I think he got the first run of them, but there's two. Dun, dun, dun,
Mhm.
dun, 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 dun. And then there's I think the initial fill might have been different, but he's also playing Iron Cobras, I think. Hats
Yeah.
off, sir.
Yes, he is, I think he played for Belfagor.
Did he?
Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
this shouldn't be that hard for him. That band's fast.
Did you notice the how he played the feet?
Was that just a gallop?
I th I think it was heel toe too. I don't know.
Was it?
We'll see it in the double bass part.
No, okay. Still tell.
Heel toe. But it's a closer to the pedal kind of heel toe, not the one that people
Yeah,
have when they.
his is probably more of a true heel toe. We with Iron Cobras, you probably don't have the option.
Yeah, you don't like your
It's not a
footboard
long.
is way too short. Okay.
This double sounds solid.
Yes. I do agree. And he added some accents too. I
Yeah.
don't remember any. Okay, I sound like as if I'm fucking playing those songs. I'm sorry. If you have anything to add, because I heard them so many times.
Yeah,
Ghost notes.
got his own. Yeah, he's got his own sauce he's throwing in there.
Yeah,
Sounds good though.
okay. Machine. Like I
Yeah.
got nothing else to add.
Yeah,
I
I'm really
think
impressed with his feet. I like his feet. Like, especially doing that with like Iron Cobras. I mean, there's a few guys out there that can rip on Iron Cobras and it blows my mind. I love the
mhm.
pedal. I came from Iron Cobra before to Axis. So like when the first I would say first year I was in Black no All That Remains, I used Iron Cobra. So like we
Oh,
wrote this calling, I was using Iron Cobra. But by the time we went to the studio, I switched to Axis.
crazy. You recorded using Iron Cobra.
No, I actually used
No,
Axis Studio. Yeah.
Access.
But
Okay, that's
yeah, but we wrote and I toured that tour with Arch Enemy where we actually played this calling before we actually recorded the album. I was playing on Iron Cobras.
mhm.